Hello, everybody. Today, we are going to talk about the ancient civilizations of the world. First, there is the ancient Mesopotamia civilization from BC 4000 to 2300 BC. At that time, the apes from Africa had first immigrated to different places that is also not just Africa. They have first come to Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is a place where it first gained their knowledge and then formed civilizations. The civilization means that people is very intelligent and isn't very stupid, such as the people will be able to write the invention of writing, the invention of some technologies. This can also mark the start of civilization. The Mesopotamia civilization started at the Tigris River and the Euphrates River. Someplace it is in the Middle East and in today Iraq and Syria. It is in both the Persian Gulf Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. It is the earliest civilization. Mesopotamia was an ancient civilization that emerged within the Tigris-Euphrates river system in the northern Fertile Crescent, corresponding mostly to modern Iraq and parts of Iran, Syria, and Kuwait, and Turkey. Its fertile land supported early agriculture, allowing cities like Uruk, Ur, Babylon, and Nineveh to develop. The Mesopotamians created cuneiform writing and advanced mathematics, astronomy, and complex irrigation systems. The society was organized into city-states ruled by kings and priests, with the religions that deeply shaping politics and daily life. The religion produced influential cultures including the Sumerians, Akkadians, Barbarians, and the Assyrians. The most earliest must be the Sumerians, which is the Mesopotamia started in the Tigris River. And they each contributing laws, literature, and empire building traditions, such as Babylon, King Hamilbury had made the law of very equal. For people attack people, then he will be attacked back, but it is replaced by jail today. There's also empire building traditions, known as the cradle of. It is also known as the cradle of civilization. Mesopotamia laid foundations for urban life, governance, and written history. It is also the start of a civilization, and if Mr. Mesopotamia civilization didn't start, then humans may still remain very stupid and apes. Then the Egypt civilization. Civilization is started on the Africa coast, mostly on Carthage and some East Africa. But after this, they have come to Egypt, and Egypt they isn't the apes that's wandering anymore. They have already entered the agriculture society, which is in the east closest of the Nile. There is the Old Egypt kingdom, the Middle Egypt kingdom, and the New Egypt kingdom. The Old Egypt kingdom is very old, and it is conquered by some barbarians, which is I don't know. And the Middle Egypt is also conquered by the other empires, maybe the Persian or the Alexander. And then the last Egypt kingdom means that it is ruled by Cleopatra because of foreign love in the Roman emperor's enemy. So the Roman emperor uses as a thing and then to attack Egypt and then destroy Egypt. But Egypt has, although it is always conquered, it still had many foundations for modern society, such as there are many big sculptures and very big society things, such as The people built something like pharaohs, the lion-headed man, and the pyramids. The pyramid is built the most incredible and the seven wonders. Still, it is very early ago. And the people worship many gods, just like Ra, Osiris, and Isis. It is also they have two Egypt, such as they are the Upper Egypt of the Lower Egypt. It is all united under the pharaoh, which is seen as the both king and divine representative. Egyptian society was highly organized. There are scribes, peers, farmers, and craftsmen contributing to a stable centralized state. There are also some slaves, but it is very common in the old days. And there is many belief of afterlife, and then therefore they make some mummies and then they bury themselves. The Egyptians also developed some new ways of writing, advanced mathematics, just like the how to calculate the sun, the orbit, and the medicine and engineering. And it is very much being conquered, so there are many periods. But we will talk about it in very long later. Then we are going to talk about the ancient China civilization. Many people will think it is the Huanghe civilization, but in China there is not only the Huanghe civilization, there is also the Hanja civilization that is called the Jihuo Tree civilization. There's also the Zhujiang civilization and the Heilongjiang civilization. Of course, there are destiny, but destiny there's only Xiashanzhou is the only destiny that is very close to Asian civilizations. Other destiny are all very big, very strong, and not of all Asian civilizations. The ancient Chinese civilization is one of the world's most oldest continuous cultures with roots stretching back over 3,000 years to the early destinies recorded in written history. It developed along the Yellow River and many other rivers where early agricultural communities grow into complex societies. The Xia dynasty is traditionally considered the first ruling house, and in Xian dynasty, there are many bronze technology, oracle, bone writing on some turtles, and organized cities. And the Zhao dynasty had introduced the video system, which is the earliest, and there are the mandate heaven, which is the political and moral doctrine, which means that only the biggest son of a king or a vassal can success the thing of the king or the vassal. And there is also Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism in that time after the Zhao dynasty is totally decimated. So it is good for shaping Chinese uh, Chinese civilization. And there are over such centuries of regional conflict because of the Zhao dynasty have too many vessels and vessels don't care about that destiny and they fight each other. At last, the vessel Qin has conquered all of the other vessels and then formed the Qin dynasty, marking the beginning of Imperial China. Imperial China means that only the king have the powers. No one can. It has a very high effect because it makes no one to disobey him because he have too many power. And then it slowly dissolved because of some very bad politics. And then the Han dynasty has conquered the Qin dynasty and then expanded China's territory over the Silk Road. And exceeding the modern day Hungary, which is called the Han very early ago. And then there is also many other dynasties, just like Sui Tang, Song Yuan, Ming Qing. Yes, many cycles of unity, innovation, and flourishing. The Tang dynasty is the center of the art of trade of the whole Eastern. This western there is the fall of the Roman Empire and the Dark Ages starts. And the Han Dynasty also attacks with they attacks with the Muslims, and then the Muslims won, but the Muslims didn't conquer China because the Han Dynasty is too strong, and any civilization such as the Turkish civilization, which is originally in China, has also come to say that China is the imperial leader. And the Song Dynasty has so many victories such as like the paper printing and the gunpowder and navigation. The ancient China's legacy includes monumental architecture, physiological depth, scientific innovation, and a written edition that continues today. China's civilization has done a lot of benefits to the old civilization, so it is thus also four of the most ancient civilizations. And then there's the Indus Valley civilization, which is the modern day India. Many people think it started from the central of the India, but you are wrong. It is started at the west of the India and even in Pakistan. It is started in the not in the Ganges River, but in the Indus River. The Indus River there are many cities and no New Delhi. Because maybe India and Pakistan is the most recognized the start of the Indus Valley civilization. Cause and then India conquered the south and the east, so then they can get more central land, and they find New Delhi is better, so they get their country to New Delhi. The Indus Valley civilization flourished from about 3,300 to 1,300 BC in the basins of the Indus River. And maybe sometimes there's a Ganga Hakra River that's covering sometimes many parts of modern Pakistan and very little of most nowadays India. Major cities such as the Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Dolathira and Gari are remarkable for the planned streets, drainage systems, granaries, and standardized brick architecture. But it is slowly desolate because of the many things such as the people may be betrayed or the pollution goof, and it is already desolate. And then, but it is also famous for its trade. It is famous for its craftsmanship, producing beads, pottery, seals, and metalwork. Its people engage in a long-distance trade with Mesopotamia and Igorot, with no clear evidence of kings or multiple places. The Indus people practices agriculture, animal domestication, and water management. About 1900 BC, the urban system density, so it is very due to the pollution change. Also, India have also there's the thing called the India Church. The India Church means that the India people worship the thing that every people is born with a status. Just like some people is born with a very high status and some people are slaves. So the India people will think they are just like this. But then the Buddhism spread and they wanted to teach people that everyone is fair. But then Buddhism is being attacked by the locals and then excluded out, but it spread into China and other countries, the Eastern Asia countries. And then there's the Akkadian Empire. It is started in the desert of Arabia. First, it is in the territory. It is maybe smaller than the Mesopotamia Empire because it is also divided into many Arabic tribes that time. But it is successor of Mesopotamia civilization. It has many big cities, and it is founded by the Sultan of Akkad. So it is called the city is also called the Akkad, which is the location is unknown, and it is also just like have many cities such as Greece, and in a very single imperial system. The Akkadian become the dominant country, though some Marian continue in religious and ceremonial use. The empire expanded though military and reaches Syria, Iran, and Anatolia, which is like the modern North Middle East, which have a very vast state, but not very vast comparing to the Mesopotamian civilization. And it is also in the peak when it is leaded by the Nevian Sea. But there are many rebellions and maybe some invasions, and then it is being invaded by Gideons, and it is collapsed for about 200 years in the 2154 BC. And then there's the Old Babylon Empire. The Old Babylon Empire is very big. It is even go to the modern Turkey and the east to the Iraq. Iran. It is about the whole north of the Middle East, and it is very good for its astronomy and some maps. It is also a very developed trade network. It is a political power in Mesopotamia. Founded by the Emirate leaders, it grew from a small citizen to a dominant kingdom. Its most famous king, Hammurabi, made the Babylon's territory across the southern and central Mesopotamia, unifying many former Sumerian and Akkadian cities under one rule. Hammurabi is most remarkable for his ranking of a law. The law is called the Code of Hammurabi. If not for the law, then we will always very dirty and very danger when you are walking in the streets because there are no law. And the empire's economy relied on agriculture, trade, and a sovereign system of taxation and record keeping. Babylon is a cultural center where Akkadian and Sumerian traditions blended. After his death, the empire weakened due to internal struggles and external pressures. At last, in 1595 BC, some other tribes such as the Hittites sacked Babylon, ending the Old Babylon period and paving the way for the Kassite rule. Maybe after that, the New Babylon kingdom is also here, but it is not the old and it is more weak. And then there is the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrian Empire is started in the 1595 BC, which is actually the time that the Old Babylon Empire ended. It is rising from the city of Ashur, is its capital, and it is existed in very many phases, and at last it is being sacked and then destroyed in the 605 BC. And then it is a west power while it is ruled. It grew through military strength, efficient administration, and innovations such as iron weaponry and professional armies. During the Neo-Assyrian period, rulers like Tyla Pilesa, Sargon II, Sennacherib, and Ashurbanipal built an empire stretching from Egypt to western Iran. So it conquered Egypt. Its capitals, Nimrud, the Shalkirin, and Nineveh became the centers of art, learning, and nominal architectures. And it is also being revenged by the Barbarians, which attacked them and then formed the new Babylon kingdom, and then their kingdom has been collapsed. The Assyrian Empire has been collapsed. So this is the end of the introduction about the ancient civilizations. Thank you. Next time, I'm going to introduce more about the ancient civilizations and maybe some about the modern Earth civilization and maybe some about the American civilization. Goodbye.